Welcome to the Glenn Mercer Show, where we talk all things vegan. If you're not already vegan, no worries, we'll get you there. If you are, tune in for health advice, information on climate change, and all the damage done by our most destructive industry, animal agriculture. We'll also talk cooking, theater, film, and culture. My 2 reasons for starting this podcast: to entertain, to inform, and to make people vegan. Oh, that's 3. Shit. Welcome to the Glenn Mercer Show. You could find us across all your favorite podcast platforms. You could find us on YouTube, and please remember to subscribe. And you could find us at realmeneatplants.com. My guest today is my dear friend, Dr. Gustavo Tolosa. Now, when I say doctor, he's not a medical doctor. He's a DMA. That's a Doctor of Musical Arts. The man is an international concert pianist. He is known as the plant-powered pianist. He has a starch solution certification by the McDougall Health and Medical Center. He's a certified nutrition instructor by the Food Save Me Institute. He's a whole food plant-based coach, culinary instructor, and the co-founder of Plantamus International. You could find him at plantamus.com. That's plantemus.com. And big news today, he is the co-author of a book that's not out yet, but will be out soon, Live Your Healthiest Life, with our friend Shayda Soleymani. Gustavo, so good to see you.
Thank you, Glenn, and thank you for having me in your show.
Well, thank you for wearing a green tie. As you know, I had suggested that it was a black tie event, but you wore the green tie.
Well, yeah, it's green and blue, but
okay. So let's talk first about the new book. It's not out yet. Coming out this spring, Live Your Healthiest Life. And it's not just by you, but by you and Shayda Soleymani. How did this idea come about?
How did it come about? Well, Shayda and I have been very close friends. I should say brothers and, sister and brother. That's how we feel about each other. And we've known each other for several years. And I have been to her house many times filming cooking demos. And we've seen each other in different conferences. She's come to my concerts. Soon she's going to come visit me to my home. So
she's coming to Argentina?
Yeah, sometime this year.
Oh, for sure. Okay.
Yeah. So at one point during our meetings, conversations, Shayda said, "Hey, we have a pretty good story here. You are, she's from another country. I am originally from another country. We both ended up in the United States and became citizens of the US and loved the country and the people. And but our stories are very different. But we both ended up following a whole food plant-based diet that is starch center. And at some point, we both ended up adapting those meals from our cultures to a whole food plant-based diet, besides eating the regular, well, not regular, but the whole food plant-based, food from the US or from other countries like Mexico and other places. So we thought that it would make a good book and make it a little different, not only a cookbook, but a book that would start telling stories, our life stories, well, a short version of it. And as we tell the story, we would insert some recipes that go with the story. And then in the second part of the book, actually have a list, well, not only a list, but the actual recipes and many. And I must say that most of the recipes are from, I mean, or a large number of recipes are from Shayda, and then many are from me. And so that's how the book, it's unique in that it tells
It
two
is
stories.
unique. I agree with you. It's a charming book, and it's one of a kind in the way it tells the two stories, and then the two stories join up, and you wound up in the same community of people who often had saved their own lives, saved their own health by going on the healthiest diet, the human diet.
Yes, and it was very encouraging for us to, because of course we sent the book to many of our heroes like Dr. McDougall, Dr. Esselstyn, Dr. Lyle. I mean, many of these amazing doctors and chefs, and we always got that comment of saying this is a very unique and book, and they all really enjoyed it. So that was a good comment, because after you read the book over and over and over and over again and revision, it's like you start wondering if
you don't know what you have.
Yeah.
Until the audience sees it.
Yes.
Now you also do something called a 7-day reboot, reset, and detox program. And people can find this at plantamus.com, right?
That's correct.
So
yes.
Tell us about that program.
That program came about from my 11 years of being whole food plant-based and being extremely lucky to be able to become friends with many of these wonderful doctors and chefs that are whole food plant-based, and attending their programs and lectures, going many times to True North Health Center, and just gathering information, becoming certified in different programs, and then seeing what works and what doesn't, because not everything works for everybody. So I decided, okay, I'm going to take what I think is the most, the most valuable of each program and see and put it together and see if it helps some people. I love to teach. I was born a teacher, so I love to take large amounts of information and condense it and summarize it and present it in a easy to understand and practical way. A lot of these wonderful conferences that I have attended and that I will continue to attend focus on information, giving you information, which is wonderful. And I saw a lack of practicality. So what I decided was to do a 7-day program for myself, and I invited a few people to join me. And the point was to make it practical, to literally take people by the hand and show them how to make 3 meals a day for 7 days, and how to make them super easy and simple, but tasty. And along the way, while we're learning how to combine these simple ingredients, I would do mini lectures, and I love to show pictures of foods and other things, and do mini PowerPoint presentations and videos. And then we all become friends. It's a wonderful community because I do it in a Zoom setting. Mm-hmm. It's not just a webinar where people have to type only. So those people who want to be seen and heard, we can just talk like you and me. And so we meet for 7 days, 2 times a day, once in the morning to get ready for the day, and once towards the evening when it seems to be a challenging time for a lot of people. And we go on for 7 days, and we detoxify by focusing on fiber and water, and we reset our taste buds by eliminating salt and sugar, processed sugar, and of course oil. And if people want to also, take away alcohol or caffeine, that's also in part of the program. And then we do a mini fast towards the last day. And it's optional, but people can try and see what it is like. So that's what the same. I started it for myself. I invited a few people. They all loved it, and they asked me to do it again, and then again, and then again. And now it's been almost 2 years that I've been doing this.
Wow.
Yeah.
And are there any cooking demonstrations that are part of this?
Oh yeah, yeah. There are several cooking demos, and they're, like I said, it's all. I just want people to understand once and for all that this is easy. You don't. I do have about 10,000 recipes that I think I've
10,000
made.
recipes?
Oh yeah, easily. I'm a recipe addict. You know, I
So
keep buying books.
these are recipes that you've collected.
Yeah, no, not mine. No, not mine. I just collect recipes, and of course they are there on a shelf, because most of them, my project one day is to make videos of all of them, but who knows? But I want them to understand that it's not that. With 3 or 4 ingredients, you can make meals. And not only that, but you can make enough to freeze or to keep in the refrigerator. And it becomes so easy to do. And I think that's one of the frustrations that people have, is that in some of these programs, they're given many recipes, so they get overwhelmed, and many of them have a lot of ingredients. I know, because I felt that, and some ingredients are obscure, they're like difficult to find or expensive. And even though that's nice, but to get started, you really need to know that it's very easy to do this. It's not complicated.
Well, speaking of frustrations, what are the frustrations that you found um, in your life as a health coach, dealing with people trying to transition to healthy living, and in this plant-based community? Have there been any frustrations, Gustavo?
Yes, there are frustrations. Mostly, I see the frustrations that people have, but sometimes the frustration is also mine, because I, I don't know, it touches me, and so and sometimes I explain it over and over, and it seems that I don't know, I think a lot of us need to hear the same information in different ways and several times. A lot of the people that take my program started with the idea that they were going to take the program, that was it, and then they got excited about it, and they've taken it 5, 6, 7 times, and they tell me that they keep taking it because each time they become more focused, they learn more, they get the sense of community, and some of them eventually say, okay, I got it. Okay, I got it. So now I can go on by myself, and that's great. And so, yeah, let me just mention 3 frustrations. Okay, one of them is the frustration when I see people that think that because so-and-so's way of eating or doing this program works for them, that is the way to do this. And so, and they soon find out that it doesn't work as well, because that person or doctor or chef or whoever, has a different personality, different goals, different weight, different maybe health problems, I don't know. So adaptations are always needed. And I see a lot of people, I mean, I like to have lists of things and steps to follow, but I'm also aware that when you talk about nutrition and eating, that it's not as rigid, like do this, and everything will be perfect. So, and I see that in a lot of people. So that's kind of a frustration until I can show them that, hey, okay, relax, don't beat yourself up. We can find a way that works for you. we will tailor this way of eating to your personality, your goals, your, it depends how many years you've been doing this. It depends on how many pounds you like to lose. It's not, the set of rules is not the same. Someone who is wanting to lose 100 pounds as someone who just wants to lose the last 10 pounds. There are different things that we do for those.
Right.
And so that's one thing that I've noticed,
right.
that people get frustrated because they think that this is the way to do it. And there are gray areas. That the other thing that is frustrating to me is when people mention that they can't do a whole food plant-based way of eating because it's too expensive, or they can't sign up for Dr. So-and-so's program because it's too expensive, or they can't take my program, which is like pretty much nothing. I've made it so affordable that it's almost silly, but and they think that that's too expensive. So I get frustrated there because I'm thinking, okay, health to me is everything. See, if I don't have that, what do I have? So how much is health worth to a person? And not following or signing up for that program, this program, it's going to cost more. So eventually, you're going to get sick. You're going to have doctor's visits. You're going to have procedures, prescription drugs. Some people spend a lot of money on supplements. And so definitely they're going to spend 10, 20 times more than signing up for this or that program. So, and then you and I know how much you save at the grocery store, because it's not the same to buy potatoes and sweet potatoes and rice and beans, the least expensive things that we can buy there, as to, buy the meat-based and dairy-based products. So there you save a lot of money too. So I hope that people will consider those things, because it's really not expensive to do this. And
That's
then,
true.
yeah,
I mean, the staple foods, lentils, beans, rice, potatoes are not expensive foods.
no, we really do. In this way of eating, we eat the least expensive foods. But of course, when you look at, like I said earlier, when you look at some of the recipes that are more elaborate and have more expensive, I mean, I have bought ingredients that I've used that were expensive that I've used one time, because there aren't recipes that call for that ingredient that often. So if you look at that, if you look at it that way, maybe, but even then, I don't think so. I think in the long run, it's not expensive at all. Many people, unfortunately, need to get to the point where they have almost a tragic event, a heart attack, a tumor, something, for them to actually realize that, hey, I need to change, and now I'm ready to spend whatever. And no, so they end up in that expensive program, or expensive to them, that they thought it was expensive, but now that their lives depend on it, now it's not expensive anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, my third frustration, I guess, would be, and I know that this is a big one for people, and I get this quite often, people that write to me or tell me that they're following the program step by step. They're doing everything 100%, and they don't see results, either mostly in the weight, okay, or in their health. And I know that they mean it. I mean, I know that they're not lying. In their minds, they are following it. I just had a case, a lady that told me that. And so I asked her to send me a list, like a food diary. And so I'm reading the diary, and all of it is wonderful. There's no animal products, but I don't see any greens or any non-starchy vegetables. And so that seems silly. But if you're eating all day long potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice, beans, I mean, those are healthy, but they're within the whole foods, those, non-starchy vegetables are 100 calories per pound average. And so you want to use them to your advantage, first because of the nutrition, second because of the fiber, the fiber in the water, but they are great for satiety. And so you've got to include them if you're not losing weight. So that was one case. Another case was this lady that was eating only one type of microgreens, I think they're called. And that was it.
She was
with
she
some
was on an
starch.
all microgreen diet?
It was with some starch. And I was like, no. We've got to start including leafy greens. Well, yeah, well, but these leaves, no. I mean leaves like kale and spinach and chard and, broccoli and other things. And so it was a revelation to her, because all of a sudden she saw changes when I showed her how to make my green mixture that I call, or sweet potato soup with greens in them, just adding greens to as many meals.
Why did she think that she should only have microgreens?
Well, because those were greens. She heard it correctly, that you should have greens every day, several times a day. And she thought, or someone told them that these were, you see, people are always looking for the magic thing.
The superfoods.
This one thing that I can find that is going to be magic. Well, someone told her that this was magic, I guess, or that this was the greens to eat. And I think that they're great. I really do. But you and I know that we need a rainbow of colors and tastes and foods, not just one. So that is frustration, but it's also very rewarding when I can show people that they're not major things. It's usually 3 or 4 little things that they need to change, like adding greens, real greens, and don't take the water out. Don't kill them in that air fryer, although we can have air fried veggies, but as an addition, but eat the vegetables with the water and fiber. So the greens, eating them whole, and then many of them I don't understand that it's better to not combine starch with fat. That's not going to promote weight loss. So if you're going to add avocado, you don't want to put avocado, for example, on a potato. You want to put avocado on a salad because that's non-starchy vegetables. So if you're going to do nuts, put the nuts on a salad or on a saute with greens, things like that. One more thing is that some of us, and I include myself, are more sensitive to sugar, even healthy sugar like the sugar in fruit. So, and Dr. McDougall talks about this in the Maximum Weight Loss. He talks about how if you're not seeing the results that you need, well, do a mini experiment on yourself, and maybe for a week or 2, try to either have 1 piece of fruit a day, or even better, just you're not going to die if you don't eat fruit for a week, and see if that makes a difference, because for some people it does make a difference. So those are the frustrations that people have, and that sometimes I have when I see that they don't understand. Most of the times people are open-minded to try these changes, and if not, they just will be stuck there.
Now, for those who don't know your story, and more people will know your story after the book comes out, but you had become obese. You were, what, 70 pounds overweight before you went on this diet?
Yes, 70, 80. 70, somewhere in there, between 70, 75.
And
Uh-huh.
for how
And
many
you
years were
did it.
you, for how many years were you struggling to lose that weight?
Well, like a lot of people that struggle with weight, my weight, troubles went up and down throughout my adult life. But at one point in my life, I had a lot of stress, a lot of, I guess, bad or challenging things happened to me personal. And I guess I did what many of people do. We medicate with food. So others medicate with drugs, others medicate with alcohol, and I medicated with food. So yeah, that was from about the year 2002, 3 to 2013 when I found McDougall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as
I
soon as
think
you found Dr. McDougall and you went on his program, from that point on, you've been a success story.
that truly felt like a fairy tale. I truly felt like, the magic wand touched me. Yeah, for something that I've been searching for about 10, 12 years. And I found that. And you interviewed me. So I think people will find the first interview you did with me where I tell more of the story, and it's in your channel.
Okay.
But it all started with seeing the movie Forks Over Knives for me when it came out.
Right. Which I think was 2011 or
Yeah,
2012.
I think it's 2011.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Dr. Gustavo Tolosa.
All right, if you've ever wanted to show off your plant-based lifestyle and do it in style, here's your chance. We have some of the most amazing t-shirts, hats, accessories, coffee mugs, and more at shop.realmeneatplants.com. We have statement t-shirts that will bring a smile to everyone's face. I love the I Want Tofu Tonight tee. Plus, we have podcast tees, Real Women Eat Plants gear, Real Kids Eat Plants, and Real People Eat Plants, just in case men, women, and kids didn't cover it all. Yeah, we love you and love that you want to show off that healthy lifestyle of yours. Again, check out our high-quality gear at shop.realmeneatplants.com and enjoy.
And we're back with Gustavo. Now, Gustavo, you are a concert pianist. And as a concert pianist, you travel a lot, sometimes internationally. There's a lot of challenges in traveling when you're on a whole food, low fat, vegan diet. So tell us how you meet those challenges.
Well, it's true. I have had the blessing, the chance to travel to many countries, and I love it. I love to see different cultures and foods and different people. And let's see, it is a challenge. It is a challenge to travel when you eat this way, because the world is not set up for our kind of food. Which is ironic, isn't it? Because this is the human diet. So
this is the human diet, and humans don't seem to know to eat it. A lot of those humans out there don't seem to realize that they should eat like humans.
Right. So first of all, when I started with this, and I was so rigid, and I still am. I don't have any animal food in the house or oil or anything like that.
Well,
but
of course not. I'd kick you off the show.
Right. Yeah. Well, I have a piece of ham there.
Yeah. No, that would be the end of the interview.
That would be the end. No, I mean so that's not the issue. But I would get up more at the beginning, the first or the second time that I traveled, I was stressed and upset. And then I decided, hey, okay, we've got to relax a little. And that's kind of my approach with people. Not that I'm going to go out and eat a hamburger, but I can't, first of all, I cannot take an extra suitcase and pay $200 and fill it up with food for, a 20-day supply. And I can't be traveling across the city trying to find a restaurant that has, plant-based food. So it was a learning process. So I would take food with me as much as possible. And then I learned how to arrive at a location and immediately look for a grocery store where I could get, well, first of all, it's trying to not go to hotels, trying to go to, Airbnb or an apartment or a house where I have a kitchen.
So you always stay where you have a kitchen.
Yeah, as much as possible. A few times that I have traveled with a group, with an orchestra or a choir or something like that, and it was all set up, and it was hotel. Well, what can I do?
Right.
That's it. But otherwise, yes. So having access to even if it's a little something small kitchen is fine. And then I realized, hey, okay, no matter where I am, there are pretty good choices in every country when you go to a grocery store. You can find already made salads, and you can find fruit, and you can have packaged and frozen fruits and vegetables. So it's kind of a surprise, even though it's silly to say that, but this food is available. And and then I would make things like Chef AJ's banana only muffins that I could take with me, things like that. And so I would eat mostly, the breakfast I can always make in these places. And at the end of the day, when I arrive dinner, I can eat there. And then during the day, I either take something, or wherever I am, I will have, the salad, soup. Sometimes it's difficult because everything has oil, as you know.
That's the problem, is oil.
And so sure. I know that I have eaten vegan pizzas where the pizza was whole wheat, crust, and it only had vegetables. But of course, I knew that the tomato sauce had some oil. So I agree 100% with Mary McDougall. They at one point traveled a lot, and she always taught us, you do the very best that you can, and then you
accept
your
what you
next
can't
meal,
control.
all right, and then for your next meal, the very next bite, eat a piece of fruit or eat a salad. So to balance it. She used to talk about traveling and going to a restaurant and asking for hash browns with no oil. And of course, they wouldn't put oil in the hash browns, but it was cooked on the same, skillet where they were cooking things with oil. So there were some molecules of oil. So anyway, just being a little bit flexible with that. And I say a little bit because I'm not gonna eat. Once in Spain, I ordered potatoes. I don't know what it was. Yeah, it was like a potato dish with onions. And I said, can you make this with no, I say no oil or minimal amounts of oil, because sometimes they get all scared if you say no oil. But it literally came on a plate, swimming. You could see them like floating in oil. So there I'm not flexible. So I wasn't ugly or anything. I didn't say, hey, I told you no one. I just didn't eat it. And said, well, thank you. It's good, but I didn't eat it. So traveling, Chef AJ also talks about this, can be very challenging.
Yeah.
If you don't plan ahead, because before you get there, you can look on the internet for restaurants. You can
Right.
see menus, and I usually make my own plate by pulling together sides. So I put 3 or 4 sides together, the steamed vegetables and I don't know, baked potato and a mini salad or something like that, and there's the meal.
Right. Yeah, oil is the toughest part because you can find plenty of restaurants that say, oh, yes,
Yeah.
we have vegan options. And then the vegan
Mhm.
options are all fried, and
Which is even worse because if
yeah,
it's oil, but heated oil, fried. Yeah, oil and cheese. I mean, I've learned also that if I order a salad, I have to say, okay, so it doesn't come with cheese, right? Because many times I've ordered a salad and it
yeah,
comes with cheese on it, and
yeah,
it doesn't have it in the menu. It doesn't
yeah.
say that it has that. So
My wife Joanna and I once went to a trendy, expensive vegan restaurant in Los Angeles. I won't name the restaurant. Um, and movie stars would go there, and we look on the menu, and everything was fried. And finally, I found a soup, and I thought, okay, they probably can't fry the soup. So ordered the soup, and it came with all this fried kale on it.
right.
Every and we talked to the waiter at one point before we ordered, and we said, do you have anything here that isn't fried? And she said, well, what's the problem with frying? Well, it's not healthy. She said, let me get the chef. And the celebrity chef, to his credit, he was nice. He came out and met with us and said, what seems to be the problem? And we said, well, we're looking for something, that isn't swimming in oil, isn't fried. And he said, fat is flavor. Now, that's just wrong. There are all kinds of delicious flavors that aren't fat, you know? And yet, that's the way this celebrity chef was thinking. Fat is flavor. I don't know why
But
people think that.
yeah, that's what they're taught in culinary school.
Fat is
It's
flavor.
it's ingrained. I mean, yeah, in the brain.
Somebody needs to tell them, no, it isn't.
No.
It's just not flavor. In fact, it tastes really
Yes.
bad once you get your taste buds adapted to eating human food. Then you eat something fatty and you just want to spit it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, once you started eating a healthy human diet, whole food, low fat, vegan foods, what happened to your energy level and how did that affect your performance career?
Well, since a lot of the changes that happen while you change the way of eating are subtle, and all of a sudden one day you wake up and you say, "Hey, I didn't just realize that I have this constant level of energy all day long," and before, sometime during the day, once or twice during the day, the energy level goes, plummets, goes down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, usually like early afternoon, or maybe
Right.
even towards the evening. And that's what would happen to me. And so it was very surprising for me to not get tired for hours since I got up until 10 or 11 at night, and that's even today. I don't have this. I get up and that energy level, well, sometimes it goes even higher, and it just stays there,
Wow.
all day, unless I have a night that for some reason I didn't sleep well. I do sleep well, but every now and then for something, and then, yeah, the next day I'm tired. But otherwise, And so for my career as a musician, when you teach, for most of my teaching career, which is like 40 some years now, I taught and teaching private lessons, one student after another, after another, after another, after another, all day, every day of the week. It's exhausting because you have to repeat sometimes the same things. You have to convey the excitement of the music to the student that may be sleepy or doesn't care because he's a child, so you're constantly giving. And so that's an energy, issue, teaching. The other one is rehearsal. Sometimes long rehearsals are very tiring. And then performing, that has been studied, a really professional, difficult performance in a concert hall. They've measured the level of exertion and energy, and they figure out that it takes about the same energy as climbing the, a very tall mountain. I mean, it's exhausting. And so having this energy really, really helped me in all three areas: in teaching, in performing, in rehearsing. It's very useful.
Now, did you ever, as a teacher, have a student who was determined to become a concert pianist, and you felt, I don't know if you're going to make it?
Yeah, many times.
Many times. So
Many
how do
times.
you handle that?
Well, the good thing is that for many of those, it worked out. I have students in Indonesia, in Malaysia, in Singapore, in the United States, many places that are either college professors and performers, and so it works. But sometimes what happens is that many students, I guess musicians, have what we call talent, which is a very difficult word to explain, but that seems to be that inborn facility. And because they have that, they're lazy, basically.
Mm-hmm.
They don't practice. And being a musician requires extreme amounts of discipline. Like an Olympic athlete, there has to be so much discipline. And so because it comes easy to them, they think they can get away with not practicing or practicing little. On the other hand, the student that was not so gifted, but is practicing 7 or 8 hours a day, ends up in a better situation.
Mm-hmm.
So that is frustrating, and I've experienced it with students that had natural talent, and many of them just didn't make it. Yeah, they did not. They did not want the discipline part of it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that's sad, disappointing. But there's only so much you can do. You can't practice for them.
Yeah. Luckily, I was never very talented, so I've
How
been
did you
able.
know? Maybe you were.
I'll tell you, at music, that's my worst. That's
your
my worst
worst.
field. I've never been able to carry a tune, and I tried to play piano a little bit and to play guitar a little bit, and I once had a few private guitar lessons, and I remember her saying, "Just don't sing. Just when you play the guitar,
Just play.
most guitarists will sing, but don't sing."
Don't sing.
I couldn't carry it. I inherited that gene from my mother,
Oh,
who had such a bad ear for music that she couldn't recognize the Star Spangled Banner. But
wow.
if she saw everybody stand, she could figure it out. So,
Well, but
so
you are talented in writing,
see,
and
my
that is a
first ability was in writing plays. And my
yeah.
theory is that it might have had something to do with my lack of talent for music, because you have to hear the dialogue in your mind. And so, it's kind of like people who are blind and they develop good hearing or sense of smell or whatever. I couldn't hear the melodies in music, but I got the rhythm of dialogue, you know?
Mm,
So maybe there was some compensation there.
right.
Um,
Oh, that's for sure. I believe that.
yeah.
Yeah,
But of course, you've never seen any of my plays.
I haven't.
Oh.
So when can we? I mean, did any of them get?
If somebody is listening out there and is a Broadway producer, please contact me. I've got plenty of
Okay.
plays. But
Oh, all
Broadway,
right.
when I was a kid, you could do a straight play on Broadway. Now it's
Mm-hmm.
almost all musicals, and there aren't
Right.
any. I mean, Broadway is almost a
No,
joke in terms of being something that a serious playwright thinks about, because they just don't do new plays on Broadway.
I was just there just a few weeks ago in Broadway,
Were
and
you?
I saw a few musicals, but
Any good ones?
yes, I like one. I don't know if I can say it,
Sure, you
but
can say
anyway,
what you liked.
yeah. No, I like six. It's called Six,
Okay,
like the number six, and
right.
and oh gosh, there was one. The other one, I just
And I'll
remember
bet
that.
the creative team behind that probably wrote 5 others that didn't do well until they came up with that one.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. Um, and I saw another one, and now it just totally slips my mind, but it was very good. It was about Orpheus and the underworld theme of the 1700s, of the Baroque period, but done in today's time.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can't remember the name now. Anyway, it was very good. And then of course the other thing was to go to see the Nutcracker by the New York Ballet, and that was
Mhm.
amazing. Yeah. So, but I've seen many musicals. I love musicals. I love Phantom of the Opera. I love. Well, gosh, well, I've seen so many, but
Yeah.
I
Now,
love
when
them.
I was in my 20s starting to write plays, the Broadway theater critic was Frank Rich. And he was such a good New York Times theater critic. I mean, all his reviews were so intelligent. And so my goal was to get a play on or off Broadway and get a Frank Rich review. It never
Uh-huh.
happened. It
It
never
didn't
happened.
happen.
And now, the critics aren't as good. As for just nobody's in Frank Rich's level. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
like after Johnny Carson retired. It used to be if you
Yeah.
were a stand-up comic, you wanted to get on the Johnny Carson show. Not quite as
That's
big a
true.
thrill to get on the Jay Leno or, uh, Conan O'Brien or any of these others. I'm not knocking them, but it just wasn't the honor that it was to get on Johnny Carson. It's the same thing now. You could get a play on Broadway. You're not going to get a Frank Rich review.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
almost pay for the Frank Rich review.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, all right, Gustavo. So good chatting with you. You look
Yes,
great.
yes, me
Thank you
too.
for the green and blue
Thank you.
tie. You dressed up for
All right.
this.
Yes, I have to dress up for your show.
And people
For
can
your
find you.
viewers.
You have a YouTube channel at Plantamus and under your own name, right? Gustavo Tolosa.
Right,
And
they
you
can
have
find me there.
plantamus.com. You have a 7-day reboot, reset, and detox program that people can find out about at plantamus.com. That's
Yes, and
plant.
let's just,
Yes.
yeah, and let me just say, because people will think, why that name? Well, the name Plantamus is because plant, because myself and the doctor that I do the webinars, I mean the website with Dr. Honeyman, we are a whole plant-based team, so plant, and then MUS is for music, because I wanted to combine, and in many of my cooking demos, I combine cooking and then I play the piano, so I combine
See, I
cooking
thought it
and
was
music.
EMUS because it was emus, and it was
Yes,
something about big birds that
I know. Actually, I think the word plantamus in Latin means let's plant, let us plant, like
okay.
plant, food.
Okay.
So it has different meanings, but
Okay. But it is spelled like plant emus. So,
right, plant emus, yes.
so people can remember it that way. So you can
Yeah.
find out about the 7-day reboot, reset, and detox program at plantamus.com. And you can go to Gustavo's YouTube channel. And please don't forget to subscribe to mine. And
That's
pretty
right.
soon you could look for Live Your Healthiest Life by Gustavo and our friend Shayda Soleymani. And that's going to be a sensational new book.
Yes,
And
yes.
I kind of played my little part in that book too.
You did.
So
Without you, this would not have come to fruition.
I was honored to play my part.
Well,
So, Gustavo, we'll see you very soon.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
This has been the Glenn Mercer Show, where everyone listening turns vegan, regains their health, and annoys their friends and relatives. Find us on YouTube at The Glenn Mercer Show and across all your major podcast platforms. Don't forget to subscribe.